This is the 5th podcast in a series of 6 analysis tools to help you select commercialization opportunities for new technology or to assess the various project or technology options available to you. The next tool we will explore is Real Options. This tool allows us to take account of the relative probabilities of success or failure into account. I've broken this down in the spreadsheet to make the calculations a bit more transparent, but you will have to study this very carefully to fully understand the principles behind these calculations. You get 3 very different answers depending on how you assess the risk and reward. The worst case scenario is the discounted cash flow analysis, DCA, based on the most likely outcome. This involves looking at the most likely scenario and adding up the relative risks and rewards as you progress through each stage of the investment and product development process. The whole point of conducting R&D is because it is risky. You get higher rewards in return for the risk that you have chosen to take in investing in new technology. So this basic analysis is flawed, as you would very rarely take the least risk path through any R&D project. So it is not surprising that the reward is truly awful in this scenario. You make a massive loss in this case. You would expect this for a mediocre low-risk innovation project. In this case, losses of nearly 23 million. In the second case, DCA analysis without options, but including uncertainty, the losses are considerably less. Here you start to analyse using the total scenario map, including all of the possible options and outcomes, including high risk and low risk ones. I have broken this calculation down into stages to help you understand it better. You calculate the probable income from each outcome by multiplying the likely gains by the probability of success or failure. In the top example, there is a 0.8 probability or 80% chance of bringing in 120 million in one scenario, and a 0.2 probability or 20% chance of bringing in 30 million in the second scenario. When you sum these together, the probable income is 102 million. But as the probability of success of the earlier stage of the project is only 0.3 or 30%, you also need to take this into account when calculating the net probable income. So 102 million multiplied by 0.3 returns a new probable return of around 30 million, including all the uncertainties. And if you add up each of the likely scenarios, the loss is reduced from over 22 million to 10 million using this type of scenario calculation. This is a much more realistic calculation than DCA on its own. This analysis suggests a slightly better outcome. You still make losses, but the losses are significantly reduced versus the previous analysis tool. But this analysis is still clouded, as it includes some of the very poor returns from the least likely scenarios. Now, in the real world, it is highly unlikely that any of these would ever have happened. The stage gate process, you will learn, helps you take better account of this and shut down the poorly performing or really high risk projects much more early in their development, before the high costs are incurred. In the final example, when you treat the scenarios as a set of options, with each stage being dependent upon the success of the previous one, just like you would during a stage gate process, the picture looks much better, with a return of nearly 4.5 million. But a 4.5 million return on an investment of 42 million is still extremely poor. I would personally be looking at reducing costs and decreasing uncertainties before I would consider this. And this tool helps you do just that.